To all the faithful, please allow me to welcome you to this brand new video. Throughout history, the so-called mysteries of Fatima have been a source of fascination, particularly the one that is commonly referred to as the third secret. In point of fact, as many of you are already aware, there is not a variety of mysteries in Fatima. Rather, there is only one secret. There was only one message in the beginning, but it was later separated into two, as we would say for the sake of convenience. This message was the one that eventually became known as a secret, since it was in fact kept secret. Not only has the fact that the message was broken up and revealed in sections piqued people's interest, but it has also prompted them to feel anxiety that is both understandable and quite concerning. What is the point of keeping a heavenly revelation a secret if there is nothing to be afraid of? What are the potential repercussions that it could bring about? As a result of the mystery that surrounds the message that Our Lady of Fatima conveyed, the story has become one of the most followed and interesting stories. That is not to mention the peculiar reluctance of Sister Lucia, the sole survivor of the three young shepherds, to divulge the information that the Blessed Virgin had foretold to her. According to the official version of events, Sister Lucia did not finally give in until Bishop Silva had repeatedly pressed her for her consent. Nonetheless, she asked that the information be disclosed until after a particular date had passed. As a result of all of these peculiar elements, the episode unavoidably got shrouded in a mystery that is still impossible to explain to this day. It is important to keep in mind that a significant portion of the faithful, as well as those who are not, are of the opinion that Sister Lucia, who was made public, was not actually her, but rather a substitute who was appointed to not tell the truth about the message that she actually received, but rather a version that was specially crafted by the Church. Today, however, we are not going to discuss the third part of the message, which is commonly referred to as the infamous third secret. Instead, we are going to discuss the first portion, which is less well known and, in our opinion, is not discussed nearly enough. A portion of the message has been unfairly ignored, despite the fact that it is significant and interesting. It wasn't until July 1941 that Sister Lucia made the decision to reveal the first two portions of the message, which are commonly referred to as the first two secrets of Fatima. The message was delivered by the Madonna in 1917. In point of fact, it is clear from the identical writing that Sister Lucia did that the message, as she herself stated, was broken up into three distinct pieces. In the first place, there is the horrifying illustration of hell. I will now divulge two of the three separate components that make up the secret. The secret is formed of three pieces. A vision of hell is shown in the first section. During our encounter with the Madonna, we were shown a vast sea of fire that appeared to be underground. Demons and souls in human form were engulfed in this fire, and they appeared to be transparent burning embers, completely black or burnished bronze. They floated in the conflagration, now raised into the air by the flames that emanated from themselves, along with great clouds of smoke, now falling from every part like sparks in a massive fire, without any weight or balance, and in the midst of screams and groans of pain and despair, which frightened us and caused us to tremble with fear. The scary and repulsive appearance of the demons, which were all black and translucent, was a distinguishing feature that allowed them to be identified from other creatures. A single second was all that this image lasted. There are phrases that are very terrifying, and we would have a very difficult time accepting them. Lucia went on to say, "We will never be able to express our gratitude to our loving Heavenly Mother, who had already prepared us by assuring us during the very first apparition that she would take us to heaven. Instead, I believe that we would have perished as a result of fear and terror." After that, we turned our attention upwards to the Madonna, who addressed us in a kind and sorrowful manner, saying, "You have seen hell, where the souls of poor sinners go. In order to save them, God desires to establish devotion to my Immaculate Heart throughout the entire world. The remedy, the means of salvation, and the sure route to avoid eternal damnation were all offered by the Madonna, the treatment. We can only save ourselves if we pay attention to the words of love that she speaks. Despite the fact that we are going to concentrate on this particular aspect of the first secret, let us take a look at what Madonna proceeded to say over that time period. Onward she went. If what I counsel you to do is carried out, a great number of people will be saved, and there will be peace. In the event that mankind does not stop insulting God, a more severe conflict will break out during the pontificate of Pope Pius XI. However, the battle is going to come to an end. Know that this is the big sign that God has given you, that He is about to punish the world for its misdeeds, and that He will do it via war, starvation, and persecution of the Church and of the Holy Father. When you see a night that is illuminated by an unknown light, know that this is the sign that God has given you. My intention is to come and make a request for the dedication of Russia to my Immaculate Heart, as well as for the communion of reparation to be performed on the first Saturday of each month. If my demands are granted, Russia will be converted, and there will be peace. If they are not, she will disseminate her errors throughout the world, producing wars and persecutions of the Church. If my petitions are disregarded, Russia will not be converted. The righteous will be punished with martyrdom. The Holy Father will endure a great deal of suffering, and several nations will be obliterated. The triumph of my Immaculate Heart will be achieved in the end. Russia will be consecrated to me by the Holy Father, and she will be transformed. Additionally, a period of peace will be granted to the entire globe. Although there are many people who do not want to frighten adults with the concept or word hell in today's world, our Lord did not hesitate to use it. See the Gospels, and neither did His mother. This was done for our benefit and the ultimate success of reaching heaven. It is important to keep in mind that these visionaries were youngsters at the time. Saint Jacinta was 6 years old, Lucia was 10 years old, and Saint Francisco was 9. Later, while in the convent, Lucia wrote to her bishop to inform him that there were individuals who, even the devout and most fervent believers, sometimes are afraid to speak about hell to children for fear of frightening them. But God did not hesitate to show it to 3 children, knowing well that they would be terrified to the point of, I would almost dare to say, withering away with fear. It was during the time of the occurrences that Jacinta, the youngest of the shepherds, made the following statement. I am so sad for sinners. She yelled out, if only I could show them what the hell feels like. She would grab Lucia and say, I'm going to heaven, but you are staying here. Lucia would then continue to stay. You should inform everyone what hell is like if Our Lady gives you permission to do so that they will not commit any more crimes and will not end up in hell. The fact that Jacinta would pass away a few years later, just like Francisco, as a result of the horrific Spanish flu, while Lucia would live for a far longer period of time, is a really moving thought to consider. Despite the fact that Jacinta was aware of her brief existence and the fate that awaited her on earth, she never experienced fear. Sometimes after Jacinta had given it some thought for a bit, she would say something like, so many people end up in hell. There are already a great number of individuals in hell. Lucia would say, don't be afraid, in order to put her at ease. Heaven is waiting for you there. The response that Jacinta gave was composed and said, yes, I am, but she added, but I want all those other people to go there too. She complied with the request made by the Madonna in order to assist in the conversion of sinners and to save them from hell. In spite of the fact that she was in a critical condition, she continued to attend Mass. Because of this, the first half seems to be much more unnerving than the third part, which has always been the focus of the most attention. Despite the fact that the vision is concerning, we would like to emphasize once more that the Blessed Virgin has always been known to communicate words and messages of love, consolation, and faith-based solutions. Not only does our Heavenly Mother not intend to frighten us, but she also intends to attract our attention and inspire faith that has been lost or neglected. Through this compassionate invitation, we are encouraged to rediscover the faith within our hearts as the one and only way to attain truth and salvation. Always pray with trust, dear faithful. Prayer is the most potent instrument there is, a happy and fruitful path in religion.